Good morning, dear friends. How are you today? How was your week? We are glad to be here, especially this week before Christmas. So I'm trusting we'll have a good discussion today. So you're welcome as you're joining us. Please invite your friends, share on your timeline, because it's an interesting topic today. Hello, June. How are you? I'm back in UK earlier than planned. Anyway, that's for June, for her to know. So, how is everyone? I can see Sammy there. You're welcome, you're welcome. Okay, so let me get my notes ready. How is everyone? Merry Christmas. So, we are here. It's already time, and I'll start. So, what's our topic today? Our topic is the art of letting go. It's a whole chapter in this book. So we shall be seeing many principles I shared here. In fact, I'll be reading my story from the book. And yeah, so what are we talking about? You are welcome. Bob, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so those who don't know me, it's Esther here, and we're always here to talk about different life principles in life. They are aimed to help single people and everyday living. So it's every person. You can always pick up something that will benefit your life. So I'll begin with a quote here by Dr. Sunday Delaja. He said that if you're not willing to let anything go, it becomes an idol, a misplaced priority. Pretty Osas, you're welcome. How are you? Thanks for joining us. So what does he really mean? We are talking about the art of letting go. So in this context of our live broadcast, letting go of things outside of our control in life, in this context, means to stop holding on to the idea of getting married at all costs. I'm talking about marriage in this context because we are aimed at helping single people out there. But the same principle applies. Many times we hold on to jobs, we hold on to relationships, we hold on to places, where we are living, different things. So just look into your life and see how you can apply whatever principle we are sharing today. So don't think we're only talking about single people. It doesn't, apply to you. No, the principle applies to everyday living. Okay. So in this context, as I said, let me repeat, we are talking about letting go of the idea of getting married at all costs. Okay, so we are talking about that reaching that place in life whereby you're surrendering the question of marriage to God. Let Him deal with it, and you're freeing your spirit, you're freeing yourself, to have your priorities right. Remember the quote say that if you're not willing to let anything go, it becomes an idol in your life, a misplaced priority. That's a quote by Dr. Sunday Adelaja. How so true that many times we place, our workplaces as priority in our lives. We place certain friends, certain places as a priority in our life. We place marriage as a priority in our life. Yet life is much more bigger than we think. So let's discuss further. So I put here that we all experience the battle, and the battle of having to close one chapter of life in order to open another chapter. All of us face this battle. For example, for myself, last month, November, my dad passed away. You know, I have to let go. I have to let go of the life of having someone you call dad around, you know, to having a life, you know, whereby that person is not there anymore. Other people are surviving without a dad. So that makes sense, really. So letting go comes in all sorts of forms. Okay, so that's my case. It could be a job you're having. The job you're having is, yes, it pays you well, but actually it does not really bring out your passion. Okay, it does not feed your passion. You feel your heart is not there. Sometimes you have to let it go and go where your passion is, because that's where fulfillment is. So letting go comes at a cost. Why? Because it takes you away from your comfort zone into new waters. You're swimming into new waters, something unfamiliar. But guess what? You're growing and becoming a better person in the process. Okay? Another example of letting go is losing a long-time friend. Someone you've known for a long time, all of a sudden something happens and, you know, the relationship is off. That is also an example of letting go. You maybe have to let go because maybe that person no longer has similar interests, similar values that you share, and it may sort of affect you, your way, your relationship, or you know, your life as well. So you have to let go. Another example of letting go could be dealing with a financial loss or the consequences of a decision that you took that did not go so well. So instead of beating yourself, blaming yourself, sometimes you just have to let go, bear the loss and move on. So letting go is a day-to-day experience in life. We all go through it, okay, in different ways, in different, you know, sort of forms. So, and honestly speaking, letting go of someone or something is not an easy task. It isn't. It may involve shedding a few tears. Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. Because it's not healthy for us to always hide our emotions, to hide what we are feeling inside. We need to express them. We need to let it out. And that is also part of letting go. Okay? But the main goal of us letting go of anything in life is that we face the future with a new hope, with a new stamina to pursue our life's goals. You're putting your place in somewhere whereby you're now focusing on your passion, your life mission, you know, that job that was blocking you. Now you've let it go. You want to focus on your newfound passion, okay, on your newfound chapter of life. So there's always benefits out of it. And having been a single person, for an older single person for some time, for a long time anyway, and throughout my life journey, I have noticed that the older one is and the more experience one has actually makes it easier for them to let go, which implies that letting go comes as a result of a level of maturity. So maybe some people, younger people, may find it difficult for a start. But let me tell you, yeah, it comes with a level of maturity. It comes with your understanding of life, your understanding of your priorities in life. Okay? Yeah. So let's move on. Lisas is joining us. Thank you for you're welcome. Mabonga, thank you for joining us. Sam is writing some comments here. Letting go practically is not an easy task, but it helps us to gain a new stamina and focus on our passions or a new chapter in our lives. Thank you. Maturity is required when it comes to letting go. That's so true. So thank you so much. Before I move on to the discussion and share my story, I want to highlight some benefits of letting go. Because you may be wondering, why are you focusing on this topic? There are some benefits, okay? So let's look at some of them. I have 10 listed here. One, and if you have any other benefits, please, I would like you to type them out so that we share with other viewers. Winston Senyonga, you're welcome. Thank you, brother, for joining us. Okay, so the first benefit is of letting go, okay, especially letting go of the pressure of getting married in this context, but also letting go in other areas of life. One is that you realize the supremacy of God. The supremacy of God. Because in this life, you have to notice and to learn that you cannot control all things that come to you. You didn't choose your parents. You don't choose who your siblings are, where you're born, in Africa or in America. So there are some things you can't control in life. It's only God who is supreme. So the same things with life, things that happen to us, the stages we go through. There are some things that we can't control. So letting go helps you realize the supremacy of God. I think it puts you in your place, okay? And actually, that's an act of worship, if you really look at it deeply. And the second part is that when you relax and accept yourself where you are and your status, you gain peace with yourself. You gain peace with your Creator. You gain peace with other people. Why? You stop blaming yourself. Or maybe if I was here, or if I was this, if I was taller, if I was beautiful, all those sorts of negative things. You let go and have peace. You have peace with other people. Stop blaming other people. What happened? Failed relationships in the past. You let go of them. Okay? That inner peace is really healthy for you to thrive in life. So we need to guard it. We need to fight for it. All right? So that's one of them. And there's an example I read as I was researching about this topic. There were two trees, one big tree and a small weak reed. So they were growing close to each other. So the big tree was, of course, strong, good stem, it can withstand a lot of pressure. So one day there was a storm, there was a wind, a very heavy wind, and it started blowing on these plants. And of course, as usual, the big tree said, I can always manage this, I'm strong. So it withstood the wind, and guess what? It was damaged. Because this time the wind was hard. So there was damage on it. It blew so hard that actually it was uprooted and it fell down. But as usual, the small, weak reed, it always bends. It submits to the force of the wind. And when it bends and submits, of course, the wind just passes over it and it's not damaged. So at the end of the storm, actually, it survived. That weak reed survived. Instead of the big tree, that everyone thought that it can withstand. So this is sort of like an analogy to life. Letting go sometimes is an act of submission. Whereas if you hold on to, I have to get married, I have to get this, it's like you're resisting that wind. And guess what? It may cause damage. It may cause damage in your life. Hurts and pains and regrets. So that's also an analogy to help us understand what the art of letting go really refers to. So 3, there's always a stillness. When you let go, it's like there's a stillness in your spirit. You come to that level of stillness. You can actually hear God more because that noise, that pressure is out of you. You've let it go, and now there's that stillness. And that gives you room for self-reflection. Your eyes are open to the more important things in life. You discover that life is much bigger than getting married, getting children, having money, a lot of money. Yes, I know money answers lots of issues and problems, but sometimes when you pursue it, when it becomes your love, it becomes a misplaced priority and a danger to your life. So that stillness gives you the room for self-reflection. And then you can get your priorities right in life. Number 4, you know, we have a lot of energy. And when you're focusing on marriage, or, you know, I have to get married at all costs, you know, that energy is really wasted in that area. But when you let go, actually that energy is diverted into productivity in other areas of life. Okay? So it can be diverted into finding and fulfilling your purpose in life, thereby discovering yourself and your passion. You know, previously we've been talking about self-discovery, a series of self-discovery. So when you let go, you get that space. That energy is diverted into finding your purpose, your passion. You know, you discover that there's something. Your life is much more than the goal of getting married. Okay, and then number 5, you are free from the bondage of an egocentric life. Oh dear, that life is real bondage, slavery, because you're always thinking about me, myself, and I, my marriage, my all the prayer points about you know, the crisis we're facing in the world. For example, the slavery in Libya, the wars in whatever. They don't mind you, don't even intercede. No, it's marriage. So that selfishness sort of takes away your joy. But when you focus on other people, you let your heart to move towards loving other people, being an answer to a certain problem in life. Actually, that's when you get that joy back. Okay, so letting go allows you to be free from the bondage of an egocentric life. Okay, so before it was only about you, but then suddenly now, because you've let go, your eyes are opened, and now you begin to notice the ills in your community or nation, and what to do to address those ills in the areas of politics, justice for the widows and orphans, poverty, finding solutions to help people out there. So this brings more joy. Okay, number 6, letting go brings this benefit, because life is always progressing. You know, life is not always static. You know, where we were in 1998 is not where we are now. You know, things keep changing, advancement in technology, advancement in, you know, science, knowledge. You know, we know more than what we used to know in 1970s. That's what I mean, that life is always progressing. So in that way, you notice things as when you learn to let go, because of that law of progression in life. When you let go of those things that you've been holding on so much, you realize that as days go by, months go by, things take their natural course without you fighting. Even relationships can come about as you're busy minding your business, fulfilling your purpose. Actually, you meet people, you make new friends. I mean, life takes its natural course, okay? Without forcing things, without being artificial, without, things take their natural course, their process, and they work out eventually. You know, when I okay, I'll share my story later, but this applies to this very practical, that when I was just focusing on my things, actually that's when I met my husband without even thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about marriage, I wasn't thinking about, you know, just, you find that things just take their natural course, and actually they work out eventually. Then my number 7 here is that when you let go, you discover your self-worth. And we've talked about this topic as well, self-worth. This is so true when one has to let go of an abusive relationship. Because sometimes when you're tied down to something, oh, I can't let go of this relationship, maybe it will be hard for me to find another person. Guess what? Your self-worth is being damaged. But when you let go of those things that you know they're not good for you, they're not healthy for you, you're building your self-worth. Okay? And then number 8, you create the mental space to develop yourself, set personal goals, advance your career, going for further studies, training, research, etc. Because sometimes we get so stuck into an idea of getting married, and we don't even think, oh, maybe I could do even a master's, I could go for another research, or I could go for another training in leadership. You know, sometimes we get so stuck in an area, and we are blinded to the areas we need to develop in our lives. So when you let go, you get that space, that mental space, and you know, you think about progressing and developing yourself. So there's also number 9, there's personal growth. The process of letting go helps you drop the wrong attitudes and habits in your life. So, and while you're developing virtues like patience, you're developing virtues like love, selflessness, because now you're not thinking about yourself alone, you think about other people, you're sensitive to the needs of other people. Okay, we talked about egocentric life. You're letting go of that life. So as you're doing that, actually you're developing your character, you're developing virtues in you, and you're discarding any negative habits or attitudes. And then lastly, you take charge of your own life and not to allow parents or societal expectations to control you. So you take charge of your life. You take back your life. You're in control of your life. Okay? So that helps you. So you don't fall prey to the pressure of people, friends, and the society. So the process of letting go. I'm going to read from my book. How much time do I have? 10 minutes. Okay? That's enough. Hello, Sister Chimwe. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Wilston Senyonga says that you have blessed me this morning. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Wilson. It's a pleasure. Sammy says that actually letting go means we are more in control of ourselves, not our emotions or worries controlling us. That's so true. So I read from my book, or what I wrote about my life. The process of letting go. It's on page 90 for those who have the book. So in November 2015, I attended a History Makers training course in Ukraine, organized by Dr. Sandhya Dilaja. One of the exercises we had to do totally revolutionized my life. It pushed me to live for God alone and for His purposes. I knew then that if I never got married, it wasn't going to be an issue, and that I would remain happy in God, focusing on my assignments on earth. And if I ever got married, then good too, because that would be an opportunity for me to grow in different aspects of life. I became very comfortable with both scenarios and was at peace with myself. Okay. I put here a quote by Dr. Sandhya Dilaja. Get the thought or question of marriage out of your mind. Let that question be God's, not your own headache. Set your mind free. Anything that is for you will always find you. It's not your own business to hunt for them. When you have convinced heaven that God is your number one, then all things work out for your good. Those are the words of Dr. Sandhya Dilaja. So I'm continuing with my story, okay? So in that exercise, we were told to analyze ourselves and come up with a list of 15 to 20 most important things in our lives that are taking up all our focus. Those things that we are living for, praying for, or aspiring to attain. Then we were required at several stages to keep cancelling things as a sign of letting go until we were left with only one item on the list. We realized that one thing is the most valuable in our individual lives. This was no joke, my friends, but a solemn and sacred moment. There were tears of pain as an internal battle was taking place within me. Okay, so this battle was between me and my Creator God. Okay, so and then I've put I quote another quote here by Mandy Hale. Who say that there are some places in life where you can only go alone. Embrace the beauty of your solo journey. What I was referring to is that coming to that decision is actually takes your individual journey. You can't say, oh, my friend, come and decide for me. My mommy, come and be with me. No, there are some things you really have to face on your own because it's all about your life. It has to be a solo journey. And that's what I intended. So I illustrated this process in my book when I listed the 15 things that I actually listed in that exercise. Okay? So the first version, I had things like God, myself, ministry, money, job, health, career development, husband, children, the comfort of living abroad, parents and siblings, property, acquisition, friends, building a home, a house, extended family, etc. So the first time they told us to drop about 5 things. My second version was God, myself, ministry, money, job, health, career development, husband, children, comfort of living abroad. Okay, so then they told us to drop 2 items. So my third version became God, myself, ministry, money, job, health, career development, husband. So you've noticed I've dropped some things. The fourth version became God, myself, ministry, money, husband. You notice husband is everywhere. It was a battle. I'm laughing now, but that time it was a really tearful moment, because there's some things that we don't even realize we're attached to them until you are brought to that place. You face reality. You face who you really are. Okay. Then my fifth version became God and ministry. I dropped husband at that time. It is something that it has to be between you and God. You don't force it. You don't copy, oh, I'll do like Esther. I'll just, no. God knows your struggle. So if you're struggling husband, you can still leave him there and say, God, I'm struggling with this. Help me reach that place. And take your time. It doesn't have to be done in one day. It's a gradual process. Okay. So, and also sometimes we confuse God being a ministry being priority, and we think when we have ministry as priority, we automatically have God as priority. No. Ministry or purpose and God are 2 different things. You really need to have a relationship with God, even outside any work you're doing for him, for reaching out, like ministry or pursuing your purpose in him, your calling. So that version I had 2 items. Then eventually I canceled ministry as well. So even if I don't have any ministry, God is still my number 1. He is my priority. He is my value. He is why I'm alive. He is the person I'm living for. Okay. So my last version became just one thing on the item list, and that is God, living for God. So I need to stress here that sacrificing all other things on your list does not necessarily mean that you will never have them. Jesus said in Matthew 16:25, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." And that scripture was fulfilled in my life, because the things I thought I would never have are actually God gave them to me. So it's the same principle that applies to any other person. So I'm reading here again in my book. This was an exercise that helped me to realize my priorities in life and to know who I am living to please. So it's not about pleasing friends, pleasing parents, pleasing extended family, pleasing whoever. It's pleasing God. Okay. So when I started walking in this understanding, I began to experience fulfillment, and God has given me a gift I thought I would never have, a lovely a man as my husband. Okay. He'll come and say hi to you very soon or even now. So God knows the desires of our hearts and will provide the help we need in life. So therefore, be encouraged always by this truth. So that's how I ended that paragraph of letting go. But we'll continue discussing this topic because it's very wide, and my husband will discuss next week another aspect of letting go. So actually, that is what I wanted to share, my story. Do you have any questions? Hello, Stella.
Hello, everybody.
Actually, that's my Sammy. How are you?
Good morning, wherever you are. Good day, We hope that this message was a blessing to you.
I missed Sister Shimwe's message.
Yes.
That is so true. Sister Shimwe is saying, when you focus on God, your character develops, and all you need will radiate towards you. Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sammy, you wrote, embrace the beauty of your solo journey. What an undeniable truth.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Sister Chinwe's commented. She said,
Thank you, sis.
very inspiring.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, you're just joining us. Thank you. So, let me see if I've covered everything I wanted to say. Yeah, so actually that's what I wanted to say. That's what our time is. So it's time up. And I have an action point for today. Sammy, can you please help me type it? So the action point for this week, you can take the whole week. You don't have to do it in one day. It is list all the things in your life that are precious to you. And just like I did, cancel them one item at a time. Just have time alone with God and bring all your life before Him. Let Him be a soul-searching moment. And try to do this exercise that I did. You don't have to do it in one day, in 1 hour. It can take a whole week, even a month. Don't rush, because we are all at different levels of life. Okay, so take your time. Cancel one item at a time until you remain with only one item that is your only gold in life. So I would like to hear testimonies eventually of people telling me, you know what, Esther, I now know what my gold is in life. Okay, what my priority is in life. So that's our action point for this week. And yeah, so thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure always being with you and sharing with you. So help us share with your friends, share on your timeline, and God bless you. And Christmas is coming up. The New Year is on, around the corner. We wish you a Merry Christmas, a lovely Christmas, and a purposeful New Year 2018. God's blessings be with you always. So, see you soon. Thank you. Bye.